right. Blessed love, love, and light. We here live at AB. Let me have a look up. Lord, see that moment. ABW. ABW Signature Media Plus. We here in the man cave. My co-host is not here as yet. Fatherly duties, he had to help out baby girl with project for school. So as soon as that is said and done, he's gonna be here. It wouldn't take him too long. Pretty much, most likely might be on his way right now. Looking at the time is six past six. Right. So we're gonna jump in regards to the question. So the question we want to jump into right away, and for those who have been following the activities on social media, we basically we were talking about something. So for those who are curious as to what Creed and Steamy was talking about on social media, it wasn't like we were just throwing stone. We basically saw a good friend of ours went through a kind of situation that was basically needed two sides of the story. There was some time ago, some years ago, well, not years ago, some months ago, which would have been practically last year. My mama wife were going through something, and I indicated to her, I say, how can I tell my story without telling yours? It means that there is somebody that would be, quote unquote, looked at as the villain and the one being the hero in regards to where those stories is concerned. And I think it's of recently, I think Faye and Lyons would have actually um, Alvarez, Faye and Lion Alvarez, let me put some respect on the woman name, would have indicated something of such that for years you would have seen this individual have been as being the hero, and the because you haven't heard the story of the other person, you count that individual as a villain. Now, I want to big up, take this moment to big up JD and Nisa. They would have actually caused this topic to be somewhat of initiative right now for us to jump in, because they have dealt with a situation that basically highlighting what society tend to ignore, churches tend ignore, and we go ahead, in our own in our own lives, in our own world, thinking that there is no solution to problems like these. So we basically say, what, we're gonna start the ball rolling in regards to this. As I tell Allah, is a brethren of ours went through a situation, he went through a divorce, you know. Basically this is public knowledge because his ex-wife would have went to the platform, taken to the platform and speak on a number of things that was basically yet to confirm. All right. I would say yet to confirm things that she may have said or may not said, or may have volunteered, or may have transparently volunteered, I should say, in regards to what she would have done and say. Basically, she have to basically account for the response, or she may have to deal with the response in regards to that in the event that my boy decide to come on the platform and share his side of the story. So um in all fairness, I would not say that where she say was lie, it yet to be confirmed. You understand? So based on what is being said out already, it is what it is. You understand? People go through stuff, and as much as we may like or may not want to count persons as the hero or as the villain, or wherever the case may be, we have to understand in a general sense that these things do happen. And some, when it comes to people and their emotions, they tend to take the route of wanting to look good. You understand? In all fairness. So before I continue, let me make sure I go on the live. I think we're live on Facebook. Yes, we're live on Facebook. So let me share the live a little bit more. Share the live. All right, share the live, share the live. So for the folks who coming on, or else share the live. All right, share the live and so forth. Let me go back on Facebook. Connect some people. Boom, share. Come back out. This is what we do when you're on podcasts on Facebook. You for you to get an audience, you need to share. All right. So guys, if you're here right now, I want all of you to share the live. Now the question we're dealing with today is basically we're talking about selective accountability. Why the story changes after the marriage ends. Again, why the story changes after the marriage ends. We're dealing with selective accountability. Now, in regards to dealing this with this topic, this is not a woman only topic. No, there is statistics to show based on the fact that 87, I think it's 87 to 89% of the women basically apply or yes, they apply for the divorce. They go for the divorce. They walk away from the marriage or the relationship. Right? Whereas men still would go through what they go through and still want the relationship. So we're going on the basis of that information and we're going based on the understanding on a general sense. Women tend to be the ones leaving the relationship. So we give you that perspective in regards to a male perspective in regards to that situation. Right? So let me see, let me get the numbers in. Or share the live. Let me make sure. Yeah, man. Tag some people. Or come in. The song familiar when I said that. Or come in, come in. Yeah. Nice. Go back in. All right. Good. Nice. So yes, those who on the live or the link up. So we're dealing with selective accountability. Why the story changes after the marriage ends. Nice. Post that. Pin this comment. All right. So nice. So we're talking about accountability, selective accountability. Now we're gonna start off on the basis whereby it's a people thing. Because their men tend to be bitter after relationships, after their relationship or after their marriage. And more so, there are also women who also tend to get bitter in regards to their relationship or marriage. Now, the thing is, we have to understand something, and I may be using a word that basically I'm using it godly because of the fact that how we tend to take a negative connotation to it. And I'm talking about the word bitter, right? Many times when we approach the relationship, as all come on, or just share the light, right? When we approach the relationship and so forth, we approach it from the perspective of you see somebody that you like, we deal with the surface basis at the first instance. The surface aspect, the attractiveness, the getting to know, the dating and so forth. And there is a process by which we deal with getting to know, whereby the initial stages of boyfriend and girlfriend, going on initial dates, to the aspect of courting. Now, I realize that many people still do not understand courting or what is it to court somebody. Courting kind of come under the basis of what we know now as exclusivity. You decide to say, hey, I'm going with this woman say I'm going with this man, we going towards marriage. So courting is the process by which after that is marriage. And you know, when we talk about after the marriage ends, right? The fight tend to take uh, a trajectory of um, who should control the story, right? Or who want to be in control of the story. And more time than any, the woman basically want her story to be heard first and foremost, is like in marketing or in advertising, more so in marketing, whereby first to market basically control the pricing of the goods or services, right? So if I created chow, right, I'm the first person to come to market, and I basically saying, hey, all right, I could set the precedence as to what the pricing should be in regards to if anybody else have to come back and do, or if someone had to follow me doing the same chow, right? So to market, there is that process that people will take, hey, I want to be the first to tell the story. So the woman most times tend to be the first to want to tell the story in regards to what they hurt they went through and whatever the case may be. And what we have to understand about that, it's not about healing. It's just basically how, who controlling the story, right? When women speak first and speak emotionally, right? Women often speak first and speak emotionally, which society is conditioned to protect. Meaning that when the woman talk first, what society tend to do when a woman come out emotionally and talk about she pain and she trauma? Oh, that's where I went through. We stand in solidarity with you. They're holding she hand. They being in a community type mindset in regards to dealing with this woman hurt and based on her hurt. So she basically going now to basically say, hey, this is what it is. This is what I went through. This is my testimony. This is my story. And then most times the guy would be silent, reserved, have nothing to say. Because I was always say this, and I would have said this recently when the podcasters would have reached out to me and they think I was coming for them. When I post up, there is three sides to a story. And I say there is the east side, there is the west side, and there is Trini side. So when they saw that post, they thought I was coming for them like, I was coming for them. And I tell them, I said, no, 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 no. I'm not on that type of scene. I'm going based on the story that I'm hearing, because the fact that I know the both individual and more specifically the guy, and know the personality of the guy, it was kind of like unbelievable of the things that I was hearing. I could not believe it. I could not believe half of the things I was hearing. I had also reached out to him forthwith. Right? Forthwith. I said, bro, you need to have something. I said, bro, you need to defend Tobago men. That was my actual words. You need to be because to hear you're out here and as a Tobago man, you're impotent, but it hard for me to go down like that. No, I joking about it now, but for them, going through the situation and think, I going based on what is already out there. So don't come for me. What is already set in stone based on what was given to the public is what I'm going after. So I'm joking about that. I'm not joking about their misery or what they would have went through, because at the end of the day, even though she may have reached out and say what she had to say based on the platform that was provided for her to say what she had to say, we have to understand that it is not the process, it's not a situation whereby she's not going through it or she making light of it. We have to understand that women do things, or people on a whole do things in a way in which that they want to basically deal, how they would deal with the hurt, how they would approach the hurt. Some people tend to be vocal about the story and want to tell it all. Yeah, some people tend to be like, you know what, I want to safeguard the person that I would have basically went through this experience here with, and I don't want to make them feel belittled or whatever the case may be. So you have that. And as I say, I really hope that at the end of the day, people could be able to understand going forward that when these things do happen, right, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, from society perspective, one gonna be the villain and one gonna be the hero. And then if the one who is counted as the hero now, which basically is the one who first to reach market or the one to first to come on the public forum in a big way to tell the story or to tell her story or to tell her testimony or whatever the case may be, you know, if when or if ever the guy decides to come and tell his side of the story and society then put it together and realize that, okay, she's really and truly the villain and not really the hero, that that is basically another can of worms that they have to deal with in regards to that. Because as I say, I was trying, having a conversation like this with my wife, and I say, how can I tell my story without telling yours? You understand? How? Because by me telling my story, it automatically puts you or shed light on you based on the behavior. Right now, I have two books written. You know, Sandy, I have two books written. And yes, the budget for the books is kind of high to publish the books, right? But the story is my story. And I even said, give my wife a chapter. The name of the book, basically, one of the books is Thanks to the Other Woman, right? No, the thing is now is that is the woman who would have played a part within my life to bring me to this point. It wasn't, you have some that were relationship, others would have been like my mother, my sisters, and so forth, who are women also, that would have played a part in me becoming who I am for today. And what they would have contributed based on me observing their behavior, observing them in relationship and so forth, and even so being in relationship with some of those individuals. Now there's a story, there's a chapter that deals with the wife. Now when I wrote this chapter, well, this from me. When I write, especially when writing music, I write the truth. I don't dilute what it is. I say it as it is. It come to my mind. That is what I put in on paper. And when I told my wife, I said, listen to me. I said, I wanted to read the chapter before I publish this book. And when she read the book, when she read the chapter, she was like, whew. She started to blow. She said, oh Lord, this ain't make me look good enough. But I understand it's your story. Now, even though that was her thought process or that was what it is, at the end of the day, in the back of her mind, she's still gonna have it that it didn't make her look good. You understand? So even though she come to understanding that okay, it's my story that I'm telling, but in the fact that your is the wife, yeah, you ain't put she in a high esteem at all. So no, this is something that we will always continue to go through, especially when you are an individual that basically want to see progress in relationship. Because as I always say, we created this platform like podcasts, the man cave, we don't give a sip. We create those platforms to basically see how we could be able to bring balance to everyday conversation. You understand? And I know a lot of time people tend to bring it across to me and say, "Oh, I sound misogynistic at times," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm way far from that. I would never encourage a man to hate a woman, and I would never encourage women to hate men. Although we seen on a day-to-day basis that majority of the conversation that comes out of um women mouth is that they don't want a man, they don't need a man, they hate men so corrupted, men this, men that. So we still fighting for the harmony, the camaraderie within relationship, but then we're dealing with women now who don't know or understand how to deal with their trauma. You understand? So we have situations where by as I was telling Steamy sometime, it was in a conversation that when it comes to trauma, a person do what they do you, and they leave and they're gone. Trauma is yours because you then now have it in your mind as to what this person did to you. So you develop something within yourself, whether it's either animosity, hate, or whatever the case may be, resentment, whatever it is, from this, what this person would have done to you, you then bring on to yourself trauma. Now you had to deal with that, not the person who would have done you. Now, the person who would have done you wrong, there is something called causation, where it's cause and effect. There is the aspect of what they did to you and the effect of what they did to you. Basically, the aspect of that effect is you, not them. They already done. So it's like somebody hit you a slap. They already hit you a slap. Them gone. You studying, boy, you hit me, boy. And I studied nothing and months. You hit me, boy. You hit me, boy. And think. And you're thinking of ways how you could be able to be vengeful. You're thinking of ways how you could, anytime I see this person, is like, things stirring up inside that you, it's like you want to fight them or whatever the case may be. Those are things that we adapt. And that move bring me back to the point or to the question, why the story changes after the marriage end. And most time, women run to the forefront to tell the story because of the trauma that they develop. You understand? That they develop. What the man do, what the man do. Because when I watch the live, and I watch the young lady and I think, from the time the young lady start, I'm being honest with you. No, I'm going based on my opinion here. This is my opinion here. I tell my wife, I say, nah, this ain't something right at all. This ain't making no sense at all. Because you cannot say, you have been in a relationship for almost 2 years and your man not even try to touch you. I'm like, what? Your man not even try to feel your breast, kiss you, feel your bottom, something of the sort to indicate, hey, some kind of affection. This girl indicated right through that exactly what relationship that was his right. Have never been touched by this man. Now, again, when this story need to be clearer, because yes, as I say, we go hear both sides of the story eventually. You understand? But some things was basically far-fetched for me, knowing how the society of men that the society of, or the society that the man came from. You understand? And I'm like, no, 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 no. This isn't making any sense. So it caused me to now basically look deeper into why women would want to go tell their story before eating. All right, so Natalie Princess, she locked on. We have all share the live. If all on, all comment and let me know. I'm at my own lonesome self right now. I'm waiting on Steve to come in for we to be, for we to engage in the conversation. But let me go back in my notes a little bit as to why. Now, when we're talking about accountability, we're talking about I would like to see transparency, not just being honest, because there's two distinction there. Honest is basically if you ask me the right set of question, I gotta be honest with what I'm answering to. So whatever you ask me, I gotta be honest in answering. Transparency is if I volunteer the information. So you didn't come to me with anything, you didn't know anything of me or whatever the case may be. I come and I tell you, I volunteer the information to you to let you know, hey, here is it now. So I saw happen. Now, accountability feels like self-betrayal at times, right? For many women, admitting contribution to the breakdown feels like admitting poor judgment, admitting emotional mismanagement, admitting unrealistic expectations. So blame becomes a shield, not an attack, right? So one of the reasons why women will go forward, now as I say, this is a people thing also, but more times than any, and we're talking about the generalization of it in the general sense, more time than any, women are the one to state that they're going through abuse, they want to quick to divorce, they're quick to go and bring the man up in court, they're quick to bring the man up with police, they demand certain things if they realize that they don't have no control. And I say a key point there, when they don't have no control. Because one of the things that women tend to ask for of men is to be a protector, a provider. Now, if we are to go on those two things, those two principles basically is the inherent, or basically let me put the natural proclivity of a man to provide and to protect. It's the natural basis of a man. It's connected to his manhood. A man would see a stranger or a strange woman and she tire bus on the road or whatever the case may be, and he would say, hey, we're going on there, the thing, and he would lend assistance without knowing this woman. Change the tire, get it done, move on. He never asking for number, he not asking for whatever the case may be. And they just go their separate ways. Because it is in a man to operate like that. Watch how you could see that from as early as 5 years old with a man child, as we just call him. Right? When the boy going to school, started out school, he quick to ask Miss, you want me help you with your bags? You go bring flowers to her. He would show that. Where he learned that from, it is in his DNA. So there's a natural proclivity for men to provide and to protect. So the thing is it now, what women do not understand about providing and protecting, and I'm gonna stay on protecting, is that protection is not based on what you determine, which is the female in this case, what protection should look like. You catch me? Because many times women tend to lose control when a man say, okay, she just had to a certain type of way. And he say, hey, I could understand when we wasn't together and this was attractive and this basically would have caught my attention for me to ask you out on a date to this point that we solidify the relationship and is me and you in this. And she wanted to wear the same clothes that caught you caught your attraction in the first place, right? And you decide to say, hey babes, nah, you can't wear that in public again. You can't think. A woman tend to operate and say, but you say you reach me. It's so I was, it's so that this is what caused you to be attracted to me in the first place. She not understanding at that juncture that basically the fact that the man come to solidify the relationship, because relationship is given by the man, sex is given by the woman, right? Women have the gate is the gatekeepers to sex, men is the gatekeepers to the relationship. They are the ones to go down on the one knee and say, will you marry me? So on the understanding of that, if basically you saying, hey, I'm giving you this relationship, understand what comes with that. It means that I have to protect you. Now, he know how men think. So if he allow his wife to go into public the way in which she would have attracted him in the first place, he know the predators that are out there. So he trying to protect her from that. She will call it control. You understand? So when women lose control of the relationship based on what they try to determine as protection, right? Not based on what the man, because guess what? The man is offering protection. You understand? Let me give you an example of where that is concerned for people to understand a little bit more. If I have to love my wife, I have to love my wife in her love language. I cannot love her in my love language. So if her love language is touch, quality time, right? I have to give her that in hers, not in what is my love language. You catch me? So the thing is it now, we just twist this, most times we twist this thing around and thinking that, okay, my man saying he got protect me wherever the case may be, but yet still, when he say, hey, babes, you can't wear that out there, your cleavage showing, I seen your panty, the whole thing, I seen everybody. You understand? I seen the whole universe. You understand? And she will count that as being control. This is one of the reasons why when a woman does not have her own, what I say, autonomy and understand that, meaning that, A, she know her value within herself. She know that, okay, the value that this man bring to her by protecting her, and she hold this alpha or masculine mindset and thinking, okay, I'm my own woman, I'm this boss lady, or whatever the case may be, and they project this hyper independency within the relationship. Then when the man does not fulfill his part of it, guess what happened? He's a simp, he's a soft man, he's whatever the case may be. But then when he do put down the boundaries, he's controlling. So you see how detrimental it is for men in society when we say, okay, babes, you can't do certain things. If we solidify this relationship and we come to this place and we say, hey, we're together, I for you, you for me, women have to understand that the protection or the provision that is being provided, there is perimeter state. And you have to understand what those perimeters are from the perspective of the man, if the man have to be the one to offer it. You understand? So let me go back into the live and see if anybody is thing, and I go on to the next subject matter. Um right. So check the live, right? People, check the live, check the live. Nice. Let me right. That's how to come back out and go back in to check my comments and thing. Okay. All right. So, right, Kelsey, where is he seeing? Right, 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 right. Right. So nice. So again, let me kind of touch base on the top. When I started, as I say, I want to big up to Nisa because I think it's Nisa platform with the pink chair that would have basically start this conversation, or technically start this conversation. I want to big up. And I don't know, you get some individuals would have, went for them because of the fact that they provided the platform. I've seen this a lot of times. And the reason why I could attest to this because is one of the reasons why my first Facebook profile when I was in Christendom was deleted. All right, people reported my profile because some of the things that I used to talk about on that profile was hard hitting truth, and people definitely do not like the truth. People like to surround the truth. They like to skip, skip or tiptoe around the truth, but they definitely don't like the truth itself. As I was telling my wife sometimes, the truth not supposed to hurt. The truth supposed to bring clarity. But we have this notion that was taught to us that, hey, the truth does hurt. You understand? No, the lie does hurt. So we need to change the narrative in regards to where that is concerned to understand that, hey, truth supposed to bring clarity and lie supposed to bring hurt. You understand? So with giving kudos to them, people would attack them and think because they provided the avenue for the young lady to speak. And basically, I would say people, Oleona, no, it's unfair to do that. They are podcasters like myself. And if somebody asks to be on the platform to share their story or the testimony, as they would call it, you have to understand they basically doing their job. You understand? It's like you're telling the news. Now, the thing is now, I believe in when you're telling the news, you need to verify. You need to fact check. Because sometimes, because of the fact that you provide the platform for the individual to speak, it causes your platform to now to be at, in limbo or be detrimental to your platform. You understand? So I could understand that aspect of it, right? But as I say, there is three sides to our story. So we're hoping that, when the time come again, or the time presents itself where the other half of that story could be aired in regards to balancing of that conversation, because it'll be real. Half of the things that was mentioned can be detrimental to a person's character. And they'll be daft and saying, oh, people don't know who they is, thing. No, majority of the individuals who know who, especially when it comes to Tobago space. Because people would have messaged me, call me, and say, boy, we think about this, thing, and bring my attention to it. I say, what? Listen to me. I was like, yo, no. We need to understand something here. There are a lot of things that basically not making sense in regards to the conversation. Okay, if that is what she want to say, that is what she want to do, that is how she want to project it. If you telling your story, tell your story. Don't tell your story, but yet still your story is basically on the premise of the individual. That's why I say, or in the beginning, how can I tell my story without including my significant other if by any means we would have to go this route? You understand? Of divorce. How can I? You understand? Now, the aspect of where this is concerned, we have to understand. We could really put people at risk, in regards to situations like this. You understand? And I'm talking about the persons on the platform. So people, all don't go for them. You understand? They are podcasters. They did their job. They provided the avenue. Now, mind you, if I had a critique on it a little bit, right, and share my opinion, and I would understand from the perspective that they would come from, is that because it's a Christian platform and they tend to profess Christianity and being, child of God and whatever the case may be, there are certain way in which that the questioning could come off to certain individuals within that space. As I said before, I came from that space. I was in Christendom. I was in Christianity for about 30 plus years. And by me asking certain questions, I realized that asking questions can be offended or cause people to be offended. Now, it is not wrong to ask questions, But because you may coin your questions in a certain type of way, and I'm a person, I don't dilute anything, I would ask a question. Whenever how the question come to my mind, I would ask it. And then if I don't make a statement out of it after you answer it, or you may not, or you get offended by it, you have to understand that the truth is the truth. And the truth do not care about your feelings. So many times people are offended by the question you ask because of the answer that they have in their mind to that basically put them in a corner, and they get offended by the answer that they have in their mind. So guess what? They come for you being the one who asks the question. So people, all I don't need to go for JD and Nisa. Hey, them is my people. Them is my people. They did what they're supposed to do in regards to being podcasters. We all are part of the same fraternity when coming to podcasting. And it's a new type of vibe within the Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago space. So all you have to understand there's all walks of life. People go through all kind of things and go through so much experiences. And if they want and they feel free to want to come and tell their story on a platform, I'm not stopping them. I just know what questions to ask. You understand? So I could understand based on the platform that they have is more for Christians and so forth. And they're trying to, bring some strength to the Christian community where that is concerned. They have to tend to coin the they tend to naturally coin the questions in a certain type of way. With we don't give a sip. When we asking questions, we asking two questions. So when my boy ready, well, let's go see how it goes. Right? So I basically I give a mouthful. So all right, so big up to Kelsey, I think Crystal, Nats, right? Well, big up all yourself. So we're talking about why the story changes after marriage ends. If all for those who on the live, if you all have any question to ask me, shoot out the question. My co-host is still not here as yet. All right. And he had some interesting take, very, very interesting take because he catch me home while I was taking notes today. And he was talking about certain things, and I was like, bro, this is very interesting. So we could be able to put that on the podcast this evening. So I haven't seen him as yet, but I would go through based on the notes that I would have or started thinking, that I jot down and so forth. So again, to start the conversation, as I said, the question is why the story changes after the marriage ends. We're talking about selective accountability. Now, most times, as I say, question, before I get back to the notes, how do I sign up to be on the man cave? Girl, very easy. You know how it is to reach out to me. Very, very easy. Just reach out to me, and shucks, I don't think sorry, I apologize. I had some people in mind, they cancel, was to be guest today because I wanted a female perspective in the man cave today based on this actual topic, and they cancel on me. But next go around, this topic will be continuing until we have the actual person, to tell their side of the story to come on. Because as I say, it's on social media, it's public knowledge. You understand? It's public knowledge. So we boy to finalize what you need to finalize, and it's gonna come on stream. But in the meantime, between time, we're gonna talk about this, we're gonna have this conversation. So really and truly, if you want to be a part of the man cave, reach out to me. You know how to get onto me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Creed, I think it's the only Creed black in Tobago. I must be the only one. Yeah, the only Creed black in Tobago, so you must find me. Right? Let me read this comment before I even say read this comment out aloud because I know this individual. Okay, so this person is saying that the podcasters that I mentioned know the young lady and the ex-husband. It's not like he was a stranger. Very biased and hypocritical. I don't care what nobody say. Okay, that is your view. That's your perspective in regards to where that is concerned. It is what it is. It is what it is where that is concerned. Again, I understand. Let me tell you something. With me personally, and I want people to know this. If I haven't experienced something that of a negative nature with you, I cannot go for individual that because of the fact that you have that experience. All right? Not because you have a negative experience with that person mean that because you have that mean that I supposed to have it too because you have an opinion or a perspective of the individuals. I'm not that type of individual. If we never had that, I'm not gonna go for them like no 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 no. And if we were like that, I know how I just go for people. You understand? It's a very simple way. I will pick up the phone, make a phone call, and have the conversation. If they're within my vicinity, I would reach them. If they have an office, I would reach them in the office, sit down, and I would have a conversation. Mano to mano. You understand? So I'm not the individual to go on a rampage because of a friend going through something. I don't do that with my friends. I don't do that with nobody that I have a positive relationship with. So if somebody come and say something about me because they have a negative thing, let's be real. We cannot be all angel all the time, and we cannot be all devils all the time. As I was always tell people, I'm 50% devil and 50% angel. I'm a balanced individual. Not everybody gonna come to you and say, Creed good. No. If anybody do that, your own Bible tell you that. He say, one to the man who only speak good of you. And he still say, one to the man who only speak bad of you. So even if your Bible telling you, hey, you're supposed to be balanced. Not everybody got talk good. You understand? So I don't understand that. Right? So basically, let me go back to my notes. Yes, Jody. So yes, I'm mostly the only Creed black interview. Let me go back into the notes here. Now we're talking about again why the story changes after the marriage ends. We're talking about selective accountability. Now I'm coming from the perspective of a man here. So for those who want the chat, or let me reach out to me, ask questions, right? So the third thing we dealt with so far, we deal with the narrative, right? The control after the break, whereby they want to control the story. We talk about accountability, feels like self-betrayal, and we're dealing with now emotional labor becomes moral currency. Now, phrases, like, I tried everything. I carried the emotional load. He stopped showing up, right? These are really examined or context or reciprocating or reciprocated, right? These are things that basically tend to not reciprocate. Now, when we talk about, emotional labor, all right, one of the biggest thing that I heard, some females say, oh, he doesn't communicate clearly. One of my first thing, I was dealing with a situation with a friend of mine, and she was saying, oh, she man reserved. He's a quiet man. He don't talk. I said, but if you say you 5 years into a relationship, you tell me he never communicated with you. He doesn't communicate with me like how I want him to communicate. I said, well, there's where I go wrong. Because your perspective of communicating, let's say basically you are able, as a female, you able to articulate your words in regards to communicating with your husband, but he's not the one to articulate, but he's going to show up in showing his actions, right? He is communicating. You basically have two different ways of communicating all your love, basically. Two different ways. One does show it, one can articulate it. What we tend to do a lot of times, and this is a people thing, this is both male and female, what we tend to do a lot of times, because you are the one able to articulate, you thinking that your husband should do the same as you. No. It would never happen like that. So you have to have the keen sense of what they say women have. Discernment. What they say women have again. Intuition. These are where now these things have to develop in you now to read your husband, because he's showing you in the way in which he communicates. You understand? So you can't come and say, oh, you never communicate to me. You tell me 5 years in marriage and your husband never indicate to you as to how he does communicate. So are you just blind to, or are you just, or you only have eyesight or sight for your way of communicating or your way of doing certain things and thinking that your husband should do the same? No, listen to me. This egalitarian idea that people tend to want to come into relationship with, no. I have a totally different upbringing than my wife. My wife have a totally different upbringing than me. It means that if we do come together, we decide to be husband and wife, the way in which I know how to communicate, right? That is how I will communicate. Because guess what? The way in which you communicate comes from your influence, which is your parents. It comes from your worldview. It comes from your experiences. So you communicate because of all those things. Likewise for my wife. So never go into the relationship. Oh, you're supposed to open your mouth. Oh, you're supposed to talk like me and things. Guess what happened to you there? Your man shutting down. Because he don't know about that. He do not know how to communicate. So therefore, you have to know how to articulate your word in way or your words or communicate in a way by which you could be able to make it palatable or make it understandable for him, right? Or make it clear to him rather. You understand? So don't think that okay, all right, because the end of the relationship, all of a sudden he never used to talk to you. Oh, for real? Where we just come with them things, and the funny thing is that when you're going through the relationship, and one of the things that we tend to see highlighted a lot is that when we see the relationship in the initial stages, guess what? Everything going good. Honeymoon stage, everything going nice. You understand? You have nothing bad to say. But as soon as the relationship ends and you're getting the emotions, guess what? He piggy small. He impotent. He don't make love to you. He don't communicate. He don't show up. All manner of negativity and evil, the man now have to put on a whole jacket of the devil. Because of the fact that the woman talking this, she talking that. Things that she even self-volunteering that she never was himself given, she talking. You understand? Now again, there are men who operate like this also. But very rare, you understand, you would have men operate like this in a general sense. In a general sense, women take to the congregation. Men, they say, you know what? Let me wash my mouth. I have nothing to say. You understand? So when we have that happening, you understand, where a woman will belittle a man after the relationship end, people we have to understand. She doing this out of hurt. One. Two, she basically want to control the narrative. And three, she basically saying, hey, you know what? I have no other defense. And before he could come and see and make me look bad, she moved in defensive mode. Even though she come first. Even though she tells her story first. That's defense. It's a defense. Because guess what? Even though your man reserve, what you betting on, what you counting on, that he would never talk. Tell me if I lie. You're banking and counting on the fact that he would never talk. You understand? No, we're supposed to stay here for an hour. And we're going for an hour. And I know again to the meat of the thing, but all the guys, we will continue this conversation. Right? My co-host didn't come. Right? I didn't see you show up. But we talk about communication clearly, appreciation when given, offered with patience or with resentment. Now, one of the things, let me talk about resentment for a little bit. One of the things that men operate with, because one of the things that the women tend to highlight in regards to the man is how violent he is in the relation, or he was in the relationship. Let me tell you a little something, and all you could do the research for yourself. All right, but based on my experience, most men are reactive in regards to where violence is concerned. A man never just wake up just so and just want to hit a woman and slapping she face or hit her planners. Men operate violently based on their on our reactiveness or being reactive. They react to it and they react with violence. You understand? According to what the situation is. Most times, it is not conjure up to say, okay, I want to abuse my wife, I want to abuse my children. No. Something. Unless this man is basically clinically, he mad in his mind, he's a madman, that is the only way I could see that happening. But no natural thinking individual or man will basically lead with violence. I don't know how all again men down out there, right? He had this scenario online whereby they was choosing, the woman had also choose between a bear and a man being they're stuck on an island with either a bear or a man. And most women choose the bear. So the thing is, it now the ideology that they have when they was doing the scenario is that women say, oh, the man gonna rape them. Listen to me. You know what's the percentage of men that are rapists? For them to think man out here so evil, man out here so vindictive. Even self, I talk about, I started off by talking about resentment. Even when it comes to resentment, men build resentment over a period of time. Sometimes it take a man 10 years before he start to build resentment against his wife. Because guess what? He got tell she over and over and over, how to adjust she attitude or whatever the case may be. But most women would say, some mother make me, so she grow me, and some go stay. So then when you have to deal with on a daily basis, how me as a man now, not gonna build resentment? Because guess what? I can't talk to you. I can't reason with you. So when we have this repeated over to us as men come to a place now where they now get so programmed with that ideology. Guess what they start doing now? Leaving women to their own devices. That's what they're doing now. Men start being silent now. They're saying, hey, you know what? I can help you. You know, so whereas you could deal with your thing by yourself. There's a saying that goes like this, you know, hurt people, right? I come up with the thing, with the ideology. Since that people could hurt people willfully, intentionally, then people can heal people. The only prerequisite in regards to that is that the person who had to be healed had to know that they want to be healed, and they basically had to commit to wanting to be healed. They basically be the ones to say, you know what, I really and truly, yeah, I need some healing. And that's the only way they could able to get it done. When they could intentionally hurt somebody because, you know, they have no control over that. But when it comes to you, basically, you know, people could heal people also. So guys, I'm cutting very close to my hour. I have about 3 minutes again. And I want to take this opportunity to say this. We're going to continue most likely after the carnival. I was really hoping for my co-host to be here so we could have to close this off a little bit properly, this first part of the conversation. And basically, let you know that we're going to be on again with the same topic. It would be the Sunday after carnival, right? My co-host wouldn't be here. We are part of culture. As much as we does do this thing here, we are part of culture. Just like my wife does do, she went down for Calypso, then she had to go back down for Calypso because I just say this, congratulations for the Tobago artists or Calypsonians that would have actually make it into the finals. I think it's approximately 3 of them. Yeah, Gigi, Roslyn, and this girl from Pembroke. She's one of the most strongest one in Tobago. I forget her name. I know she was working in the bank. But yeah, those 3 ladies. And it's 3 ladies. Congratulations to the Calypsonians who make it into the finals. Right? So they're gonna Sunday's Mass Grass, so they ain't gonna be in Tobago. And my boy, he get hired to wave flag. So so we are part of culture anyway, take it, even though we don't do the podcasting and so forth. But here what we're gonna continue this conversation the Sunday after carnival, right? And let's share with all our friends. We have more points. And this will lead up to, the X-Man. I put it out there, the X-Man coming on the podcast and share his side of the story. So guys, until we meet again, the Man Cave, I thank all very much. And I'm out of the live already because I was going through my notes. But thank all very much for joining and look out for the Man Cave. We don't give a sip. ABWS Signature Media Plus. I see the band coming in slowly but surely. So guys, I have to make myself clear out of here. So till we meet again, blessed love and light.